Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Turn Right Machine Works. My name is Keith, and this is Let's Look Under the Old Girl's Apron, Part 5. All right, we are underway on our Acme threads. In fact, we got one that is already fitting on our lead screw here. And we're going to bring you into and go back to where we started on this and bring you up to this point here. I want to tag in at this point that the thinking that you have when you're creating standard V threads, get the minor diameter drill that you desire so that you can create the thread contact or the percentage of thread contact for your V threads, is that's usually how you gauge it. Well, at the beginning of this project here, I just measured this, and what I searched my drill catalog for a close drill that I knew that I could get this started in here. And then when we finished tapping out one of our blocks here, I wasn't able to fit it onto the lead screw. And so that caused me to go ahead and open up the book here and double check what was up. Now, of course, when you're making nuts and then you're making lead screw, that's why you're doing both of them together, and you turn your nuts first and use your nuts to gauge the thread. But here we are, we're trying to create a set of nuts that fit on this lead screw. And of course, this lead screw's root was a little less than what was expected when we started. In the machinist handbook, you have a great section on Acme threads, and there's actually classifications in here, and this happens to be a 2G, I believe 2G fit on this tap. And in here we got sizes, minor diameter, and thread 8 here, 1/2 inch or 0.5062. Okay, so they're giving you 6 2/10 range there for the minor diameter, and we drilled it out with a 15/32, which kind of made sense when you look at the Acme gauge here. It actually says depth of thread is half the pitch plus 10 thousandths. Okay, well, half the pitch, the pitch is 8, so that's 0.125, and half of that's 62, and 10 over that, 72. Double that, that's 154. 154 from 5/8 comes out to about 480, 485, somewhere in that ballpark, and that's where the drill size that we picked fit. Okay, but we had a shallow root, and so we had to do something about it. But what we're doing is, Acme threads are designed for pushing, pulling, lifting, and lowering machinery travels and equipment, and therefore the root and crown have got specifics in size ranges and standards, and those are listed in the machinist handbook. So you really do, and that we were gonna break out the book and everything else when it came to our Acme screw and go over all the particulars on it, but we actually had to open up the book and kind of double check and verify what our problem is. And so anyway, let's go back to the beginning and start on these nuts. We've got our blocks in here. We brought out our lead screw, and you can see here the amount of play in these threads. These are the round diameters that locate them into the cross slide, and they're made to have a little bit of adjustment like this, because you have this wedge block that goes down in and pushes these apart, and that's how you take out the play between the pair of blocks, threaded blocks. Now this is 8 threads right here, so I believe this gap is supposed to be 1/8 of an inch. We're going to measure that and verify that that's what it should be. We're going to go get our slip of paper that actually we measured the center line to center line, and these threads, I believe, are in the center of the blocks there. So what we're doing right now, as we're getting this information we're going to need, we already know that these blocks are 1 inch square this way, and we're going to have the height equal to the height of the blocks themselves. So pretty much they're all done except for facing them off on both ends. So we set up our parallels, and we're coming in with an end mill, and we're kissing off one face. And after we kiss that one face off, then we're going to set them all in here, all on a parallel, all at the same time. And then we're going to take the little 2-inch shell mill and we're going to come across and create that same height on all of them. And then after that, all we have is the angle and 2 holes. This will be a threaded hole. I believe these are 1/4 20s. And the Acme tap left hand, which is 5/8 8 left hand. All right. And this is only just taking enough to create a straight face on it. Now there's lots of ways to go ahead and make feed nuts, and first we're just going to duplicate what we actually have. Nice. We've got all the blocks in the vise. We took and measured the width on every one of these, and they're all measuring within 1/1000 on the width. So we put them in there, we spread them out a little bit so they weren't right next to each other, and they are really locked down there real tight. If there was a slight little bit of difference there, I would have put a piece of paper or something in down on this side of them, on the movable jaw side, but I think they're going to stay put. All right. We went ahead and we brought the cutter down and just kind of touched in one area there we thought we touched. Yeah, it did lightly touch it. All right, and we're just going to go ahead and we're going to come on down about 5,000. Now we're going to answer the phone. Okay, we lowered her down about 7,000 right there. This is this one and the third one are the lowest out of the 4 blocks there. We'll go ahead and get across them and create a uniform height on all of them. And then we'll take them down to the height. This is 1 inch 100 on the height is what we're looking for. Okay, I'm gonna go get my 1 to 2 mic and check it on this end before we roll it back to the other side there. One inch 210. We'll just double check on this side here. We have a very, very slight back cut on our head there. Hard to feel it. I can see it, but it's hard to feel. And 1/215. All right, we got a ways to go. 1/100, 1/1/6. We're going to come down 50 thousandths. Okay, we're setting our block in here with this face against the stop, and we know this width is 1 inch. We're over here at 1/2 inch. Everything's on center line, and then we eyeballed our 1/2 inch shank here to the bore of the minor threads there, and we're going to go with that dimension for our Acme thread. Now, these blocks here are actually screwed to this, and they control, you can slide up and down these blocks to become in line with the lead screw in place. That's how you compensate for the hand scraping in the ways area riding in relationship to the mounting of the slide itself. So it's pretty, we got a good eye, and we trust it, and that's how we're gonna put that in that location. We've marked all of our blocks in that position, and then after we drill that hole, then we're going to flip them up on its edge, and we're going to zero in on the 1/4-20 hole, and that is the hole that this bolts in here. And see, then the thing slides up and down. And we're straight in line, and we're going to be in the same realm. Even if we're 1,002 side to side, it doesn't matter. This is open air. All right. All right, and we went ahead and picked up a drill. We're going to drill this tap size 15/32. Should put the most meat around the threads for the tap. Now also, this drill a while ago, we ground flats on this. This is free machining brass, and we want to make sure that we're not grabbing and this thing's not diving and choking up on the bit and becoming a nightmare. We go ahead and we grab our hand wheel, we engage our hand wheel. Okay, I'm going to set up our little brass vacuum cleaner here. Alright, that's nice. Now we're going to hold this up to our other block here, and we're just going to stare down through. That looks pretty good. Nice material all the way around that. Cool. Okay, we're going to drill through the other 3 of these. Okay, we set our travel on X at 0 here so that we can come back to this location. is right now we're going to go ahead and we're going to flip this up in this location. Let me see here. This is the one that's clean finish here. There we go. Yeah. Yep. Okay. And we're going to zero in on this hole here and go ahead and drill and tap it. And then we're going to come back and run the tap, the Acme tap, into two of our blocks partially so that we can get that alignment set up, and then we're going to set them up in another fashion. Okay, there we go. Okay. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to run our 1/4 inch tap in all of these before we go for the Acme tap. And our last one. Alright, now we're going to go ahead, we're going to go back to, we're going to brush this out a little bit here. I always look down, and if I can see a chip on my parallel on the wall, I take and brush it off, but okay. Alright, let's see what shank we have here. About 480, so anyway, we're going to go ahead and we're going to get a follower. And we're going to go down in this by hand. I'm going to get a T-handle. And all we're trying to do is get the starter thread through two of these blocks. Then we're going to set the blocks up horizontally. And go ahead and put a spacer between the two of them. And we're going to run the tap through them as a set. And then the blocks themselves, as far as the threaded holes, will be done. I'm giving it some thought right now to eliminating this wedge and drilling through and putting 2 set screws that bypass this thread going down through here and spread the two like a regular nut with a wedge cut and then a spreader bar on it. I'm gonna play around with that, probably finish that up tomorrow, but for right now we're gonna try to get our Acme thread started in these holes here, and we're gonna see if we can do it with this tight hole here. This will start, but it's going to be tight, and we're going to see if we can do it. Okay, we got our tap follower in there, and we got this antique tap handle. Happens to be about the right size that I can swing in here comfortably. We'll bring this down in here, a little tap follower. And free machining brass, I don't think we need too much, but it doesn't hurt. Now, that's leaning like the Leaning Tower of Pisa there, and that's because we didn't go back to our 0. So we'll bring this back to our 0 mark here, right there, and that looks more presentable. All right, let's go in here left-handed. A little more tap juice. Keep an eye on our tap, see how far down we're getting. That's pretty good. Now I don't want to go too far in there because I don't want to start getting too tight into here while I'm entering the next block here. So I like that. I'm going to go ahead and bring her back out now. Actually looks pretty decent right now, but it's still just a roughed out thread because that's all the first part of the tap is the roughing, and then this is the finishing. This actually kind of starts almost like a regular thread, and then this broadens it out into the Acme type thread. Now we're only going to do 2 of these like that, and and we also got to keep in mind that we set these up in this fashion, like that, and then like that. All right, and we're going to have an opposing one that would be like that. So we will have to be marking the top and bottom in direction on the second pair that we go here. We're going to have to turn them around in that direction there. All right, just keeping that in mind, even if I forget. That's okay, let's go for that one. Let's go for the second one. Let's get 2 right. Okay, the other ones, they may not be lefts, they may be wrongs. Okay, keep all of our brass chips in the same location there. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and remove our stop because we're going to need to crank our tap out here. All right. Okay, just giving it some thought here, and Okay, both of these are going to be in this position. There's this position, and even though we tapped it from this direction here, we're going to actually be following back through from this direction here. Left hand is left hand, no matter which side you come from, but we want to lead in with our tap on here. Okay, and these two are going to be in mirror. Because the center distance from here to one side was offset slightly because of this wedge shape here. So one of these is going to go in here like that, and the other one, you notice the X and X, I got those crossed. Okay, here's the ones we tapped, here's the ones that aren't tapped. Okay, for some reason I had thought there was a 1/8 of an inch of gap supposed to be in there, and in reality, if you hold these up there, it's not. It's closer to almost 200 thousandths there, but we're able to get it there. And the main importance is because these two mounts inside the carriage have got to start out centered or square. These have play to adjust back and forth so that these blocks can be wedged apart with the wedge there. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to drill through and we're going to put set screws to spread them. Okay, but we need to have this Acme thread go through them and be timed between the two blocks at the initial installation of the block. So what we did is we went ahead and took hole to hole was 1/280, and that's how far apart these two slugs mount into the carriage. So we took 1/280 and added one thickness here, and that come up to 1 inch 667, and we get that over our Allens right here within a thousandths or two. We're happy about that. All right, so that's setting our location for these two blocks. All right, and they are down. I just want to go ahead and make sure they are down, and we will double check them again. We're within 3/4 thousandths. That's good. That's good. I like that. We're going to have that amount of play plus some on here, but we want them to be adjustable. All right, so now we take our screws out so we don't score our tap, and we move our calculator and stuff, and we go ahead and we feed our tap in from this side here. And now we can lube down through those Allen screws as well. We're using our new high-tech snap-on 12-inch adjustable spanner. This one here was a gift from my mom several years back. My Uncle Harvey used to be a machinist. I had several uncles and cousins that were machinists. I didn't know until later on in my life, after I became a machinist, that they were machinists as well. They worked basically in Syracuse, Liverpool area, in factories there. And my mom asked Harvey if he would pick out a nice tool for me, and he picked this one out, and I really do cherish it. You gotta be careful. The thing actually almost like wants to size right on to your taps. Another thing, I could go get my square drive and I could put a ratchet on it. Okay, we're starting to pick up the new threads in this nut and the cut threads or roughing threads in on that one. I think I am going to check out my square drives here. A little more productive. Now before I pull these out of the vise, remind me to take a punch and punch them so that they're matched. I almost call that aerobics exercise. Okay, a little stamp there, and we'll stamp those so that we match them. All right, this is going to be set 1, and we'll put a stamp in on the one side here. All right, and all right. The other one we'll put a 2 in, be our second set. Okay, pull them out of the vise. Let's blow them off with some air. Okay, 1 and 1. Looks like that. Oh, we got a little chip in the way there. We may actually have to drill the minor size back out of these because we don't have enough root clearance. That's what it's acting like. That tap was able to go through there, but it doesn't mean our minor diameter of this thread is able to pass through the bore. Okay, let's take a look at it tomorrow. Okay, we reset up on our little blocks here, and instead of going in with a drill, we went ahead and grabbed our 1/2-inch reamer so that we're not turning so evasive there, and we have to slow this down a little bit. Okay, so we come down through here with our reamer, just skimming out our 1/2 inch. And then we can run our tap back down through here, just skimming out anything that might be raised as far as a burr, running the reamer down through there. Well, we're going to have to put it in the vise. Okay, now we got a pair of blocks that fit our lead screw, and we run this all the way up our lead screw here till we get up in this area right here, and you can feel new male threads, which are lightly worn because they've been hardly used up in this area right here, and you can feel the difference of this nut here and this nut here. This nut here is actually stuck on there, okay, with a little bit of friction there. It's not tight on there, but it won't rotate, and you can see how much this one here drops down. And if we take this one out to the same position that one was there, does the same thing. Both nuts are exactly the same. It's just that we have wear from here on down. We have wear. There's different amounts of play or looseness in this wear area, because that's it depends on if the whole life of your machine has been used in this range right here, or if it's been used down in here, or if it's been used up in here. It will determine where your lathe was mostly worn out. All right, we don't have, but maybe even in the loosest area there, it's still not bad. But we will be making a brand new lead screw because we want to do a few other things with the lead screw and its configuration, and how the gear mounts on, and how the handle mounts on, and getting rid of the two-piece collar, making it a solid one. There's a lot of things that we're going to be doing in here on the lead screw here. All right, so we have a set of nuts here. Now, instead of putting the tape, actually these would be going this way here, and normally the wedge would be going in this position here. And I think what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to set up the block so that we can drill and tap 2 threads that go in, and we're going to actually use one block to push against the other block instead of wedging it and wedging the blocks out that way there. We're going to be pushing, we're going to be located down into the body of the block instead of pushing on the top surface and creating a twist in the tube. We're going to be pushing in a straight line with our set screws. Kind of our change of our design here. All right, so I'm going to finish up the other 2 blocks, and then we'll set up and we'll start doing those 2 screws right there, and we should be pretty well made up. When we eliminate this, we're going to be gaining a thread or an opening to be able to oil this this lead screw, or this cross feed screw. Okay, we decided to put our hole for the 1/4 set screws that push the 2 thread blocks away from each other to adjust in play, and we're picking one uniform spot, and we can just flip our blocks over here. And actually, let's just make sure that we're not getting any chips in here. Okay, we'll do the same to the other side, and then we'll change out and put our tap in there. There we go. After these two holes are in here, you can't mess up the blocks. The transfer punches that we punched in to each other face on the same side, and the access to these tapped holes have got to be to the back of the lathe so that you can adjust them when it's in position. Okay, now we'll go in for tapping. Get this locked in really good. Now we can leave it right there. Let's slow this down. There we go. Let's make sure we have enough travel. Okay, we got enough travel. Plenty of juice. You want to get in closer? There you go. Okay, let's flip her over and we'll do the other side. Did we come all the way through? We have threads almost all the way through. We're going to get another tap we have that has a hollow on it, and we're going to probably chase down through those. Okay, we found a tap with a relief up in here, and we're able to chase down through our threads here to get enough on the other side, and then we just turn it around briefly on the other side just to double check and make sure that we have it 100%, and then we'll be putting in our set screws that will allow us to go in. We actually might have a self-locking set screws kind of go in here just so that they won't vibrate. They have a little nylon insert or something like that. There's several different kinds of locking set screws, and that's what we want in here. We want it to hold its position until we're ready to adjust it again. All right, and then we flip it over. Excellent. And just a quick test in on the back sides of both of these. Doesn't seem to be any Extra tension in there. Check the other side. And the same there. Not much of anything. All right. We'll go ahead and we'll lap all of our surfaces now so we get them nice and smooth. Okay, we just came over here to our granite. That's it. That's what I meant by lapping. Just a quick little surface, making sure that we got all the burrs off of it all the way around on all sides. All right, blow them off with some air, and there's one and one. There we go. That's the way they go in. Handles over here, adjustments over here. Okay, the last thing we want to address with our nuts is these two round posts that mount these to the cross slide. Okay, they're for full adjustment and even up and down, and there's set screws that come in and lock these as far as the height up and down, and there's little digs in here where the set screw cup point digs into, and if you wanted to make a difference of up and down adjustment, or your ways are being scraped, and we're definitely in a different spot with new nuts, new ways, and everything else, and we want to rid of that. But what we're going to do is we're going to mill a slight flat here so that they can slide up and down, and that raised area of the metal will not interfere installing them or changing the adjustment in the future. So we're just going to go ahead and lay these down and mill a flat on them so that those set screws can. And we don't have to align this any more than just taking that and putting that vertical, because we're just going to go across the top until we get the width of a set screw there. There's a 1/4 set screw that sits in there, just like the bolt head right there. So we'll give that about 300 thousandths on the width there. We'll change this out to an end mill. Okay, we change this out. We're going to come down and just kind of touch it. We'll put our brake on our quill, and yeah, we want to go a little faster than that. Let's go ahead and speed her up here. All right, vise is tight, and we're going to crank her down. There's about 10 thousandths. We'll see what we got there. Just barely touching it. Okay, let's see. We need to go down just a little bit more. We'll give it another 10. That's about 200 thousandths there. Another 10. That's a 1/4 inch there. I want to give it just a little bit more than that. So let's crank it down here another 10. I like that. That's 300 thousandths. That's gonna be a nice surface to have as a flat. Okay, now let's go ahead and put the next one in here. There we go. All right. All right, two flats, and they both come in on this side here. I'm going to go ahead and lap those surfaces, making sure that nothing's sticking out past them. All right, we lightly tighten our two slugs here that hold them. The flats are mounted on this side in relationship to the carriage. 2 quarter 20 by ½ inch set screws. We want to run those in. We're going to get a pattern made up because we're going to cut a piece of felt that's going to go in between the slots, so that when we drip oil down through our opening on the top, that we're gonna change out that set screw that used to run that wedge into a dripper, and we'll be able to oil that. Those quarter 20 set screws going through will go through a hole in the felt. The felt will have a hole for the lead screw as well, and then that oil will wipe the lead screw. So that's going to be an added oiler for this nut set here. And I think this is pretty well done. So until next time, get her done.